What is going on, Fight Feeders? Do you want to know what the most frustrating thing about being an MMA fan is? It's that the fighters do not fight as good as we do.
What?
Jokes aside, and guys, I'm definitely joking about that comment. But the reason I made that comment, guys, because this video, I am going to be breaking down something that has been irritating the hell out of me lately, especially now that 12-6 elbows are part of the arsenal for every fighter to utilize. And that frustrating thing is seeing several different fighters in 2025 have a perfect and ample opportunity to throw strikes at their opponent's body, especially while in a grounded position, yet fighters are only headhunting and not using all the tools they have available to hurt their opponent. Now, guys, diving into this topic is something I'm a bit passionate about. I've caught myself screaming at the TV multiple times now, saying, fucking elbow in the fucking body, elbow is fucking rib cage. And my goal for this video is to kind of break down one of the most frustrating examples that I was able to remember and pull up. And what I'm going to show in this video is not only where those opportunities were for this particular fighter, but also I'm going to show you guys what the human anatomy looks like, right? So it's going to show like internal organs and shit like that. Because as a fan of the UFC and MMA, I feel like this could actually be something that's useful, so especially for any of you who might be training to be fighters. Maybe some of you might be fighters. This could be useful for you because the way that I see it is some of these fighters have like perfect opportunities to completely demolish their opponent, especially while in a dominant position on the ground. And they're just headhunting instead of using some of those more available tools, but also going for a place on the opponent's body that they're not really protecting whatsoever. So, guys, the example that we're going to break down is Joel Alvarez versus Vicente Luque. And what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to do what I've done in previous videos. I am going to walk through this on my iPad and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about in terms of those areas that they could be hitting. So before we dive into that, just want to say thank you for coming to Fight. Hopefully you guys are subscribed. If not, I'm going to ask that you could maybe do that for me while you have a chance right now. But also, if you could give this video a like, comment below what your thoughts are. Would love to hear from you guys as always. Let's dive into the video of Joel Alvarez versus Vicente Luque. And as I'm about to dive into that, I just want to call out one thing here, and that is we should not even be having to use this as an example, guys, because Joel Alvarez should have gotten the finish in round one when he punched Vicente Luque in the eye. Vicente called it a eye poke, but it was a clear punch to the eye. If Cyril Gane punched Tom's eye and not eye gouged him, we might be in a different position here, guys. I digress. All right, guys. So as I mentioned, we're going to break this down in the actual clip itself. So what I'm going to show you guys a few moments in this fight, right? It's going to be round 2 and round 3. We don't have to belabor the point, but just going to kind of go through it here. All right, guys. So to start it off in round 2, Joel Alvarez gets like a takedown here, and he tries to latch up a submission on Vicente Luque. And so I'm not going to hammer home this point too much in this spot because obviously Joel Alvarez is trying his darndest to land on the face and head of Vicente Luque. But then he throws up a submission, which you can't blame him for. He's trying to finish the fight. It's a little bit later in this round, though, as we kind of keep moving here. So obviously, like I said, he tries to latch up. I think this is like a Darce choke. But right here, guys, this is a spot that I want to hone in on, right? Because as you can see, Vicente Luque is not really fighting all that hard, okay? I've circled it there. He's really not like putting up a crazy fight here. And so this is, from my opinion as a fan who's watched hours and hours. I mean, I watched every single UFC event, guys, since UFC 239. I have not missed one UFC event. If I did miss it the night of, I watched it later that day or the next day if I had something going on. I legit have not missed one event. And I'm not talking, oh, I like come in and watch main events. I watch every single fight, okay? And I'm sure most of you do too. But when you kind of think about that analytically and times all the hours that I've actually viewed fights, I guess I would give myself I don't know, a pat on the back, a gold star for being able to potentially see things happening, or yeah, I guess that's it. Just see things that maybe someone who's not watching it all the time, even though they do it, wouldn't see, right? And that's, I think, something that us fans actually can bring to the table that is kind of nice, because it's the same thing, like, you know, a lot of people always say about football coaches, like, oh, you never played football, so you can't be a coach. But a lot of times you have a lot of, you know, coaches that were players, but there's also a lot of great coaches that never played. So sometimes I think with fighting, you have a similar situation of, you know, fans or coaches who didn't fight can maybe see certain things, right? But what I'm going to call out here, guys, is you see Vicente is not fighting that hard, right? And then when I look at that and I see the dominant, you know, basically he's kind of like in a side control here that Joel Alvarez is in above Luque. I just see all of this area, right? I see the chest, I see the solar plexus right there, I see the rib cage. Okay, in my opinion, this submission attempt is not a bad submission attempt by any stretch of the imagination, but especially because Joel Alvarez, if you guys don't know, is a submission artist first before being a KO artist. If you look at his stats, has way more submissions actually than knockouts, which is surprising. But my issue, guys, is I feel like in this moment, Vicente Luque is basically a fish out of water. He's hurt bad from the first round, and Joel Alvarez trying to get the finish here. In my opinion, Joel Alvarez would have had way more success and maybe even close this out in round 2 if, instead of going for this submission, he could even just start to go for the submission, then cancel it out, put put his lead elbow like right into the face of Vicente Luque right there. And he could take his right elbow then and just batter the midsection of Vicente Luque, especially considering Vicente Luque is gassed. And I'm talking, you got Joel Alvarez, he's got the elbows, like he's got these types of elbows, right? These sharp elbows where he could just land that right on the ribs, right on the solar plexus. He could land that in all kinds of nasty spots on the ground and really not only deplete the potential, like whatever was remaining of Vicente Luque's gas tank, but he could literally maybe even finish the fight by hammering some of those elbows down and then maybe mixing it up, going back up top. But I think what I've seen a lot of fighters do, guys, is they do not focus on this whatsoever. They get an opponent hurt and then the opponent falls to the ground. And a lot of times it's like they want to headhunt. And I can understand that, especially if you've hurt your opponent to the head, just as Alvarez did in this fight. But why not? Instead of going for the submission against a guy who has great submission skills and probably submission defense, why not use this opportunity to try to batter and hurt him even more, but in a spot where you haven't done it yet, like really targeting the body? So guys, like I said, this part isn't as egregious to me, right? Because he's at least going for a submission, like he's going for things. But you know, as you kind of get to these parts, and I'm going to skip ahead here because he kind of latches up another sub here as I'm able to do anything with that. So guys, what we're going to do is we're going to skip ahead to round 3 now. Because round 2, like I said, it was just a slight example, a little area, maybe some tweaking that he could do. Round 3 is where shit gets really frustrating for me as an MMA fan. So round 3, I don't even really remember what happens here, but I'm pretty sure Alvarez gets Luque down to the ground again, which fair play. But you're going to see, or I think, no, Luque goes for like a takedown, a sloppy takedown, and Alvarez, you know, just whomps on his ass. So right here, we got Alvarez trying to lock up like the inverted triangle there. And, you know, look at this. You know, he's starting to go to the body a little bit, just a little bit there. Just like a little punch. So Alvarez has this locked up, but this is the part that is so frustrating to me, guys. Alvarez is just kind of laying here. Like he's not doing anything. And it's not like Luque has his hands up here. So while he's in this position, and guys, maybe I just need to put myself in his shoes, try to like be in that position, but because maybe it's like an awkward angle. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But in my opinion, guys, if they got 2 minutes left on the couch, 2 minutes left on the clock, Alvarez could literally keep this position and just take that right elbow once again And instead of throwing down, right, he has to kind of come at it like that. But I'm thinking he could crack Vicente right on the fucking rib cage in this area, okay? And then like this. And here we are, 2 minutes. So Alvarez is kind of posturing up. Look at Vicente's head. He's clearly uncomfortable. Alvarez got his fist wide open. And he's not, I guess he doesn't have probably the angle he needs to throw punches with any type of mustard on it, if you will. And because he's got the cage there, what is stopping him from throwing this elbow to the other side of Vicente Luque's rib cage? Like, he could be hitting this area right here, guys. He could be hitting this area right there. Just like, not even just hitting, he could be like trying to fucking demolish the rib cage of Vicente Luque there. But he's kind of just sitting there. And I understand he is pretty tired at this point, guys. But what the fuck is this? Watch this. Alvarez has the perfect opportunity to hit the sweet spot of the body. This dude starts throwing rabbit punches backwards to hit Vicente on the head. Like, what is he doing? Like, how is that even going to fucking hurt him? This is not a hard punch. This is how like a fucking brother punches his brother and he's got him in like a little fucking wrestling hold. And he could meanwhile be targeting this part of the body. Fuck it. You don't want to do the body? You could throw elbows to the back of his shoulder. Like, fuck up his shoulder. Fuck up any part of his body where you can hit him with the most ferocity is how I feel, right? Like, he's like thinking about hitting him in the body here. He's like, should I? No, I think I'll just go and fucking rabbit punch his head. And you know what, guys? I can't tell if Joel Alvarez, like, if his hand is just locked up back there. I would assume that Luque has his right hand, locked up in some way, because it's like he can't move it out. But it's these punches that, like, what is he doing? Like, I just cannot seem to understand why he can't hit an elbow right there on the back of the shoulder. Like, I know you cannot target the spine, but that doesn't mean you can't target the back of someone's shoulder. And just, even if it's the back of the shoulder, or even if you're trying to go more towards where the kidneys are, he could be throwing all kinds of shit into that back area, off to the side, right? Like the back of the rib cage. He could just do all kinds of shit in that area that he just is not utilizing that opportunity. And it's just so frustrating to me because I've seen this happen in so many fights, especially this year, guys, where a fighter has their opponent hurt or they have a dominant position on the ground and they're just basically choosing to essentially only target the head. And once the opponent guards the head, it's like they just stop. They just stop in their tracks and there's no other place to attack. And it's so frustrating to me because as a fan, I'm sitting there thinking, you could get this guy out of here if you actually targeted like other parts of their body, hurting him. Like, Vicente was hurt to the head in this fight. If he would have beat the fuck out of his sides, his back, I guarantee you Vicente starts tapping. If he starts laying down the law with some elbows on the back rib cage, like, he is going to fuck it, not the back rib cage, but you guys know what I'm saying, like the back where the rib cage wraps around. If he just was bashing that, dude, Vicente is going to have to tap because there's nothing he can do in this position. He can't get out of this position. He's got Joel's fucking hand tied up. Like, there's no reason Joel Alvarez can't do that type of attack in this position. All right, guys. So now that we've gone through Joel Alvarez, showing you guys all those different moments in that fight where he could have targeted the body of Vicente Luque. And this is not an attack on Joel Alvarez. I love the fighter. He's a great guy, great at fighting. He is just the most recent example that I can think up at this moment. I would love for you guys to comment any other fights or fighters you've seen also do this, where they're just not targeting the body or just the open areas of opportunity, especially in a dominant position. But what I've got here is the human body, right? Just to show you guys, this is like the human body showing from the back or posterior view, as they would say in anatomy. And within that, you guys can see all of the great organs and shit that we all, I mean, knock on wood, we all should have, right? I only say should have because my mom was actually only born with one kidney. She didn't even know until she was like older, I think. Anyways, when you consider that, and you see the areas of opportunity that Joel Alvarez had available to him. He could have been smashing an elbow right to the, like I said, guys, when he was against the cage, he could be smashing an elbow like downwards and, or, you know, hooking it, like, because the elbow kind of comes out like this. You see how my elbow is? It's got like a scoop shape. You could almost scoop your elbow right into, oh, that even hurts my hand just doing that. But if he was able to do that type of motion right into that right side of Vicente's body, that is right where the liver is, okay? Right below, it's kind of, the liver kind of is a little bit exposed. So like when you see fighters get kicked in the liver, it's because your livers is protected by the rib cage for the most part, except for like this part down here. And that said, even if you were hit in the ribs though, hard enough, your liver is going to feel that pain. And so to see that he had that opportunity, but he also could have been hitting like the kidneys of his opponent there. He could have been raining down some kidney shots, which are not going to feel good either. Those are just a couple of the organs. And you can consider the other side. You got the spleen, you got the pancreas, all of these things that are probably not going to be directly affected, but will feel some type of pain if you're fucking throwing elbows at them. And the reason I bring this up, guys, is because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And so if you're really trying to get in there, finish your opponent with the most damage or pain possible, the best approach would be to go after a spot where they are not protecting or defending. And in both these situations that I showed you guys, Joel Alvarez had open season to just rain down blows on the body of Vicente Luque. And for whatever reason, I mean, I know the main reason he was targeting the head is because he hurt Vicente to the head, but just because you hurt him to the head doesn't mean you got to go and try to hit him there every single time. Your goal is to hurt and damage your opponent as badly as possible. Whether that's to the head, the body, it's to hurt and damage your opponent to win the fight. And I feel like in this moment, you know, Joel Alvarez being spotlighted, but a lot of fighters, guys, they miss these opportunities that are wide open for the taking. And it's just a matter of doing it. It's just a matter of like realizing in the moment and then going for it. And obviously the best thing that we do as fans, right? We like to quarterback from the couch, especially like quarterbacking a fucking fight is crazy. I really can't stand like when people are like, oh, I would have done this. Like, no, you fucking wouldn't. The reason you wouldn't have done that is because your ass is talking about it. You're talking about what you would have done. Bullshit. And where I'm coming at from this point of view is just saying, like, I see how good of a fighter Joel Alvarez is. I see how damaging his strikes can be. I also see his frame, his elbows. He's going to have bony elbows like I do. And to me, like when you put all that together, it's the perfect recipe to, even after hurting your opponent on the feet, getting in dominant position on the ground, demolishing their body, giving them no other opportunity or option but to tap because of pain, right? I want to see more fighters utilize these types of options that they have in fights. I think it's just a matter of realizing that that option is there, because I think sometimes I'm sure fighters get a bit of tunnel vision, especially when they've got someone hurt. It's like the adrenaline, it's like the predator comes out and you're targeting that spot. And I understand that. But I think if they can, like one thing I noticed about Gene Silva, when he hurt like Bagdasarian, he dropped him, started throwing shots to the head, but then he started throwing elbows to the rib cage. And then Melsik, I think, tapped, or it was either he tapped or the ref stepped in. But from that POV, like that was a great moment for me as a fan, because I love seeing that. I love seeing how he noticed that opportunity that was there for the taking. And I would like to see more fighters use that type of approach, especially when they get their opponent hurt or dropped. Let me know what you guys think about this. I've been wanting to make a video on it, so here it is. Make sure you give this video a like, and if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe to Fite Feed so you can stay on top of all the new MMA content that I will be posting. Thank you all, and I'll see you guys in the next one.